This is a really funny drama that I've been following because it's my pet project. I love following what's going on in Japan. China has been accusing Japan of arbitrarily dumping nuclear contaminated Fukushima water. I don't know why China has decided to say this. It has caused a major commotion. Apparently, Chinese people keep calling Japanese stores, phone bombing Japanese stores and complaining to them. But it's also funny because no, it's funny. People are so mad. But as far as I understand, there is already toxic waste. There is already nuclear contamination from Fukushima. But the irony is, from what I understand, well, one, it fucks up Japan too, which it would. But two, from what I understand, nuclear waste in China also gets dumped in the ocean. So that's just what nuclear plants do. They're like the ocean, massive body of water. What's it gonna do? It'll be fine. So now everyone's mad at each other and they're freaking out.
The plan is to go ahead with the release of treated water from the crippled Fukushima nuclear plant into the Pacific. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said the discharge should begin on Thursday, despite opposition from fishermen and neighboring China.
The ocean belongs to all mankind. It's not a place for Japan to arbitrarily dump nuclear contaminated water. China strongly urges Japan to correct its error, revoke its plan to discharge radioactive water into the sea, communicate with neighboring countries in good faith, handle the radioactive water responsibly, and accept strict international supervision. China will take all necessary measures to safeguard the marine environment, food safety, and public health.
Okay, to be fair, new Godzilla, okay? Maybe not the worst thing. Think about it. Godzilla, not an alien, comes from the water. Think about it. All the radiation in the water, Godzilla 2. Now, we know from Godzilla 1, that's just not going to hit mainland China. It's just not going to hit Taiwan. It's going to hit Japan. So just let it happen is what I would say.
Beijing had been staunchly opposed to Tokyo's plans, with Chinese officials calling it selfish and arrogant. Here, food imports from around 10 Japanese prefectures have been more or less banned since the original nuclear disaster back in 2011. And as Tokyo had been fine-tuning its plans, Beijing strengthened those import controls this summer with, for example, radiation testing on seafood imports.
No, it's different. Other nuclear waste won't come directly in contact with radioactive material. It's like drinking a bottle of toilet water versus drinking a bottle of water that was dropped in the toilet. South Korea is doing it too. South Korea's seafood sellers reel as science fails to ease Fukushima fears. More than 90% of South Koreans say they will reduce their seafood consumption due to radiation concerns as well. China, by volume, dumps more tritium, which is relatively harmless, but this water has contacted the exposed core, so there are worries of cesium, which is really bad being in the water. Japan says they have a new filter system which can eliminate the cesium, make the water more or less normal. Yeah, I don't eat fish, so this doesn't bother me at all. I don't give a shit. I'm kidding. It was exposed to the core. Even treatment cannot remove all contaminants. Multiple scientists have okayed this plan. China is just saying this because their relationship with Japan has been tattered lately. It's also about South Pacific diplomacy, as China has been speaking out for Pacific Island views who are totally against these Japanese plans. The solution to pollution is dilution. I mean, that is literally that. Okay, DuPont Chemical. That's basically what that is. That is what's going on here. They're like, the ocean is massive, guys. It's fine. We can dump a little bit of radioactive matter and it'll be okay. Is what's going on. As far as I understand, dumping toxic pollutants into the ocean is a commonly shared value all around the world, but certainly both in China, South Korea, and Japan. So I don't know if this is extra bad, but here, yeah, this is what I was looking at. It's pretty funny. After China enacted an extraordinary ban on all Japanese seafood, a Tokyo restaurant put up a sign specifically warning Chinese people that it uses ingredients from Fukushima. The Chinese vlogger took offense and called the police. Shinjuku restaurant put up a sign saying all their food comes from Fukushima. This Chinese vlogger feels wronged and calls the police. Yeah, of course he put that sign up. Look at his hair, man. Okay, there's more. The vlogger insists that it's discrimination to make such a sign specifically aimed at Chinese people. The sign is not illegal, so police will not order the restaurant in order to take it down. Here's another victim of abusive Chinese phone calls. The Zhao Fox village in Miyagi. It's an animal park that has nothing to do with nuclear power, but Chinese numbers are still flooding it, and calls calling staff idiots and telling them to die. TEPCO and the Fukushima government has received thousands of calls from China. As Anna notes, Chinese nuclear plants have dumped water that is far more radioactive than the water being released in Fukushima. I love this story. this is very like America coded on both sides. It's like dumping toxic pollutants into the water. I love that. That's like very much, you know, that's something that every capitalist nation does. Something that China does too. What is this? August 24, 2023, a date that will live in. Dude, this is effort posting to a degree that I am unfamiliar with. I do not want to read all this. Japan's rulers insist the irradiated water is safe, yet they haven't found a purely domestic solution to the problems it created. They adamantly refuse to allow use of the liquid in Japan, such as for irrigation in drought-hit regions, much less for drinking. They're like, dude, it's perfectly safe, but just like, you know, we're not going to use it. We're just going to dump it in the water. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
You know, tell us a bit more about where all of these worries are coming from in China. After all, Tokyo and the IAEA have both said that this is safe.
Well, we're talking about 1.3 million cubic meters of wastewater being released into the Pacific Ocean starting this Thursday and over the next few decades. The wastewater has been treated, but TEPCO, the plant operator, has failed to remove a radioactive substance called tritium, as there's no such technology to do so yet. Instead, they've diluted it to such low levels that the IAEA calls the impact negligible. Japanese officials also point to other nuclear power countries such as France releasing far more quantities of this nuclear waste.
Wait, so they just diluted it, so ultimately it's the same? It's just they're dumping it with a shit ton more water then? They took out the worst isotopes. The only thing that was left is tritium, which is relatively less harmful. I don't want my microplastics to taste funny for some nuclear water. Yeah, dude. Hey, it took many, many years and concerted efforts to get our microplastics to taste a certain way. Now that we've gotten used to the refined taste of microplastics, they're coming in and ruining it. They're making it spicy water. I don't like it. I mean, look, the point is this. If you're dumping it in the water but not using it in like drought areas, then, you know, that spells trouble a little bit because you're still dumping toxic waste into the ocean. Obviously, the response is always, well, it's fine. It'll go away in 12 years. And also, well, it's fine because there's a lot of it naturally in the water itself. And, well, it's a really big body of water, but, you know, still kind of sauce.
Japan just announced today that they plan to release over 1 million tons of radioactive water into the...
There's rad guy glows. Okay, dude, this guy has been radiated too much. Okay, look at his fucking, look at the vibes he's putting out there. I'm sorry. If you look like a Funko Pop collector due to all the radiation poisoning that you withstood, it doesn't mean everyone else should get to your level of radiation poisoning.
They pass it through what's called the Advanced Liquid Processing System. That removes a vast majority of those radioactive materials. But it doesn't remove your tritium. Tritium is an isotope of hydrogen, so chemically it behaves exactly the same way.
I can't trust this guy. This guy could tell me at the top of the hour there is no 3-minute handbrake, and I'd be like, fuck no, no shot.
What does not meet the national standard is those levels for tritium, because they can't remove the tritium from the water. But what they are going to do is the water that they're going to be releasing into the environment is going to still be below the regulatory requirements. What they do is they mix it with seawater first before releasing it. That's how they get it down to that 1,500 becquerels per liter. It is safe, but it really does put a bad image on those fishermen in Japan and from neighboring countries. So really, this isn't a major pollution concern, but more of a public perception concern.
By that same reasoning, couldn't you dump anything in the ocean? My friend, that is precisely the reasoning that every fucking mega corporation and state actor uses to dump anything in the ocean. Let me tell you something. It's not just the ocean either. They do it in currently your local water supply, your rivers. That's why you always have to throw your car batteries in the water. It is safe. It's always safe.
Tritium into the environment. You either release it into the water or you evaporate it into the air. Tritium, as I've mentioned before in some of my videos, has a very low health hazard. It's actually released as a normal everyday practice from facilities around the world without having any effect on the environment. That's because tritium does not concentrate in the ecosystem like things like heavy metals and mercury. If it was easy to concentrate, we'd know how to remove it. The results of releasing this low level of radioactive material into the ocean is very minimal when it comes to the animal life. The amount of dose that is expected to be received by humans from this release is less than 1/100th of one dental x-ray. Now, to put things into perspective, if you wanted to receive the same dose that you would from the naturally occurring radium in one Brazil nut, you would have to drink 3.5 liters of that Fukushima water to get the same dose of radiation. So again, anytime you see the news putting out information like this, remember to put things into perspective.
This guy could be the foremost authority on radiation, and I can't get myself to trust him at all. I'm sorry. So much so that I literally now think Brazil nuts are deadly poison, and you shouldn't have it. This had the opposite effect. I now am terrified of water. I'm terrified of the Japanese water. I'm more terrified of fish than I was beforehand. And also, I'm terrified of Brazilian nuts. Is this how Chud see Fauci? Maybe. We are never getting nuclear energy as a country. Yeah, I am like openly a Luddite with nuclear. Everyone gets mad at me for it. Especially all you fucking nerds in this chat. I'm open to it, but I'm still scared, okay? Open, but from a distance.
Every year, but for some people, negligible risk just doesn't mean no risk. When we're talking about nuclear waste, of course, there's always quite a bit of fear, and needless to say that the historically rocky relations between Japan and its neighbors certainly doesn't help in these situations, nor does TEPCO's less than stellar reputation. This has, though, been a long time coming, a plan that has been years in the making, and the plant operator has also been running out of space and of options. But the fact of the matter is Tokyo has failed to fully convince all of its neighbors of the safety of their plan.
I know nuclear Andes. Radiation from coal mine production is significantly worse than the toxic pollutants that are released by a nuclear power plant, blah, 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 blah. I get it, dude. Shut up, okay? My counter to you is, hey, guess what? It's scary, okay? You have a chud brain when nuclear comes up? I don't give a fuck anymore, to be honest. Like, my perspective on it is literally that, like, it can't be fucking worse than... It can't be worse than fossil fuels. Like, who gives a shit? Fuck it. Maybe we'll get, like, really cool new mutant powers or something. Like, that's unironically what I think about nuclear power at this point. Like, I feel like nuclear waste is something that we haven't really fully figured out how to deal with. Like, people just, unironically, just either store the worst aspects of it underground or dump it in the fucking water after diluting it, and it's just like, whatever, who cares, fuck it, you know? You're making assumptions on a topic you admitted to know nothing about. Oh my god, everyone gets so fucking annoying on this issue. It's okay. Sometimes I'm an entertainer. I don't have to have full-blown knowledge over every single fucking issue that we are covering. It doesn't even matter, because America runs on fossil fuels anyway. So you can get mad all day, every day at me and be like, Hasan, like, you're standing in front of potential nuclear revolution that we were going to have in America. It's like, okay, well, no, I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, it can't be fucking worse than fossil fuels. It can't be worse than coal. Fuck it. Who cares? That's my take. Hasan, why don't you advocate for other sustainable ways of energy production? Wait, what? No, that's what I do. The problem is nuclear Andes will always be like, well, one, the energy production is not as efficient. Number two, we don't have the storage capabilities yet of all of that energy that we potentially have created through renewables, because battery technology is not caught up yet. And last but not least, that nuclear is reliable. It has worked. It has always worked. It's worked for a very long time, except for the times that it hasn't worked, in which case it's just chalk it up to human error. Yeah, when it fucks up big, but usually it's not supposed to fuck up. You trust the science on many other things on a daily basis. Why can't you trust science on this? To them, I say, yeah, but scary, but like nuclear radiation scary, but I don't care. So I've turned a new leaf on nuclear power. For the nuclear Andes in my chat and in this community, they get very upset anytime the subject comes up. I don't care anymore. It's okay. I will become a mutant. At this point, we put off building nuclear for so long, it's not really worth it. It takes a long ass time. Yeah, that's the one argument that I've heard against nuclear is that, like, people make it seem like nuclear power plants are immediate. And as far as I understand, it takes a super long time to fucking build it and have it operate on a grid. But that is something that I haven't heard any pro nuke boys say is wrong.
The first matchup will be Ray and Abe against Lud and Hasan. So.
Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. I haven't played in months. This is my first time touching this game in literally months.
You can win this match.
I think so.
One enemy remaining. Oh! Dude, Hasan actually destroyed me. I'm
I'm
struggling.
playing my face off.
Oh my god.